It's Thursday, September 21st, and this is Geeknights. Tonight we discuss why ice hockey is awesome. Let's do this.
You know, I really can't complain about my job because they pay me better than IBM. I make quite a bit of money considering how little work I do, at least in terms of technical work. But I'm kind of thinking about looking for a new job already.
When did you get this job?
Like 4 months ago.
I'm thinking about quitting a job that I've had for 2 years.
Well, think of this.
4 months?
When I first got to IBM, the main reason I could bear it was because I knew that I was going back to RIT. And the day I went back to RIT from my first stint at IBM was like the happiest day it was at least in the top 5 of happiest days in my life. Because first off, I was poor, but then I worked for IBM for a while. I had like $7,000 in the bank. I had just spent a month living in Wildwood, New Jersey, going to the beach every day with Scott Johnson. And now I was back at RIT, the president of the anime club, a badass senior taking nothing but awesome classes. Life was absolutely perfect.
And that's why it was so expensive. It's like, oh, you want some awesome life? Well, you have to pay like $1 bajillion.
Yep, and you know what? 2 months later, that $7,000 was gone. My car was almost repossessed, and I had to rely on the sympathy of cute girls to actually give me food.
Thus is the way of things. You know, tomorrow, speaking of work, tomorrow there's actually people coming to my work. I'm not
Really?
Yeah, they're coming. I see. At first, earlier in the week, they emailed me. They're like, "Are you gonna be there on Friday?" And I'm like, "Yeah." They're like, "Oh, because we're coming to see you. We wanted to make sure you were there." Which means it's like, okay, either they're coming to fire me, which is maybe cool, or they don't expect me to actually go to this place every day, and they want to know if I was gonna be there.
You know what? They probably figured we haven't had him do anything in a while. He probably doesn't even go there.
Well, I'm technically doing something, but there's like no deadline or anything. I'm just kind of have these open tasks that I work on slowly, and whenever they ask me to report on my progress, they're very pleased. So I don't,
See, I handled, because I had the same situation at IBM. I had absolutely no deadlines, and they pretty much would give me systems or goals and say, have at, do what you can. I would do as much as I could because I had nothing else to do at work. I mean, you can only surf the internet for so long.
Yeah. But
when you go to FARC the 4th time and it still hasn't updated, there's nothing left to do on the internet.
Well, see, what I generally do is I get to work, I go to everything once, and then I'm done with that for until...
For like 5 minutes.
No, until like the end of the day, when I'll check my email once.
No, that's a horse shit. You're constantly chatting with me over AIM, and you post in the forums somewhat regularly. You're always in the forums.
Well, I keep the forums and the email open, and then I close everything else.
Yeah. See, basically, I work and read FARC and read our forum and read Slashdot and chat simultaneously no matter where I am. And yet I do enough work to where they're always very pleased with what I do. It's kind of weird.
The thing is, like, I replaced the time I would do work. I end up, like, reading a comic or...
See, I can't do anything like that.
Playing a GBA game.
I mean, I guess
DS game.
The thing is, I do all the work I can do. It's not that I'm slacking from work at this new job. It's more that the work is all just kind of stupid.
Yeah.
Like it's all paperwork and bureaucracy, and every now and then someone wants to know something technical, and there's no way they understand when I explain whatever they ask to them. Like people ask me like people ask me things like, how do I make this kind of formula in Excel?
Oh my God.
And I'm like,
equals the math.
Well, no, he wanted something really complicated and weird. And I was like, I don't know. I could write it for you, but I'll have to sit down and relearn that crap and look at the syntax a little bit. And he was like, what do you know? But yet, people ask me things like blah, 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 Linux. And I'm like, blah, 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 kernel, blah, 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 blah. And they're like, what? What did you just say? I said, there was an instance recently where some vendor needs remote access to some software. I can't say anything about who or what, but they require PC Anywhere, which is some remote access.
Oh, God.
That's not the thing I'm getting to.
Okay.
Here. Now, I go to one of my managers and I say, all right, we need a VPN we need remote access to this box they want PC Anywhere. And I'm about to say, do you think we can convince them to use something else? And the guy said, no, PC Anywhere is crap. I agree. And I think, then he says, we'll just give them VPN access. To which I said, but VPN doesn't do what we need done. VPN doesn't do anything by itself. You need a little more than that.
That's all?
There's just, no, it goes on. There's just, no one's technical. I'm in an IT firm that does a lot of awesome stuff, but no one really knows a lot about the technology at all. It's kind of frightening.
Yeah, I guess that would be frightening. But anyway, no, they're not coming to fire me. They're coming to bring the new furniture to this empty office where only I work. And they told me to bring a box cutter to work tomorrow. We have one, right?
No.
Oh, okay, good.
I have one.
I'll just buy one at the hardware store on the way to work.
I wouldn't bring if my work said to buy a tool and bring it to work, I'd come to work.
Well, they didn't say to buy a tool. They said bring one if you have one.
I wouldn't bring one. Of course, then again, my work won't let me crimp cables or anything, so I can't even bring all my tools to work.
Wow. Anyway, the point is that, hey, they think I'm doing a great job, and tomorrow they're going to be like, hey, what's up?
Yeah, it's weird how we both work for companies that think we're doing a great job, and yet we're doing maybe 2% of what we could be doing for them.
Yeah, I think, as soon as, I, don't have things to distract me from doing work.
You know what the most common joke people make when they walk by my cube at work is?
What?
They see me typing, or they hear me typing, and I type really fast, and they always say something like, slow down, you'll get us all fired. Yuck, yuck, yuck.
Wow.
Like, what are you trying to do, put us out of a job? Or the union will get you.
You should be like, if I was the manager, you would be a homeless bum.
I mean, they all do their jobs. It's just, I'm sitting with a bunch of administrative types, and I don't have any contact with the technical people, but yet I'm paid more than some of the technical I don't get it. I don't know. It's like I'm lower middle management at this point.
Yeah, I think I need a job being like... see, the thing is, right now I'm like an individual worker, but after working on teams, forcing to be working on teams, like, forever, I want to work on a team of, like, a bunch of guys who are smarter than me.
Working on teams is great, because in the corporate world, I found that team means you are no longer responsible for anything that's done, everyone else is stupid and won't do their work, and when the axe comes to chop off the heads of everyone who fucked it up, you'll have all the copies of the emails you sent to people telling them what to do, and proof that they didn't respond.
I want to work on, like, one big piece of software with a bunch of other programmers who are all smarter than me, and then I'll actually work hard and it'll be awesome. That's what I want. Or even better, I have a bunch of programmers who are less smart than me, but I'll be like the team boss, and I'll have to organize these dudes and get them to do my bidding.
Let me put it this way. I have never, in all of my years of work, been given a task that was not either impossible, as in actually impossible, or so unbelievably mundane.
Yeah.
Like, there's never been a challenging, interesting project.
It's like all
ever.
the projects they've given me are pretty much it. That's my real problem. The reason I'm not super excited and I'm finishing all the work right away is because the work I'm given, the projects they assign to me, aren't anything that requires thinking or solving of problems. It's simply implementing a known solution. It's like, I already know how to make
Scott, you realize
a database-driven website. I just had to make like 1 million database-driven websites that are real big, and that's it.
You realize,
it's just mindless coding.
Scott, you realize that probably less than 1% of companies need you to solve unsolved problems.
It doesn't have to be an unsolved problem. It has to be a problem that I haven't solved.
The vast majority of computer science work is writing bullshit little programs for companies that don't realize the solution already exists, or customizing something that already exists for a company. Just like IT. It's all just support or like putting in a network or building a server. There's nothing special.
Nah. There's work out there.
See, I got some hope, though, because next week I've been invited to have breakfast with the CEO of the company.
Didn't you see the CEO of the company before?
Yeah, with a whole bunch of new hire people, and I asked him one technical question, and he didn't really answer it.
Mm-hmm.
But this is a smaller thing, and I'm pretty much going to tell him straight up a thing I think the company can do to make a shit ton of money, and I'm going to try to convince him to put me in charge of it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to go balls out.
That's a good idea.
Because
I never tried. You always think of something like that. And
I'm not going to say what it is because, it's weird. This company didn't make me sign any NDAs. I don't know if they're really, I don't know what they're thinking because I probably could talk about all this stuff, but I'm not going to because if I worked for any of the other companies I've worked for, they'd kill me if I said what I could say.
Yeah. No, but that's great because I used to think, trying to tell the bosses what to do or act like you know better and tell them all your crazy ideas is a dumb thing because 99% of the time your ideas are dumb and you just don't know why because we're not businessmen.
See, no,
but I read a thing recently that says, no, you got to tell the crazy ideas.
I used to think, it depends. Are you more worried about the chance of something awesome or the chance of a promotion? Because if you make the bosses look stupid, then you're probably never going to get promoted, even though you'll do good. Unless your boss is one of those smart ones or your idea is that good. But I've learned, because
it also depends on if your idea makes money. I mean, it could be a great idea that makes no money.
Well, like at IBM, I ran into a lot of situations where I'd say, why don't we do X? And the business guys will all say, oh, because of blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, it's like a lot of times we go be like, hey, why don't we do this and buy one of these and we'll have perfect security? Because that is a spending thing that gets us no money.
That was never the answer they gave me. The answer I was always given was, no, that's not how it's done. Or, no, that, MySQL solution isn't scalable buzzword. You need the enterprise Oracle buzzword because that's how the industry works. And you just don't understand that Oracle buzzword is better than MySQL
buzzword. Oh, well, those people need a bludgeon on the head because they don't know shit.
That's the most of the industry.
Yeah, they don't know shit, but... Okay.
Anyway, maybe I'll tell you the idea off the air because if nothing else, we should just start a company that does this. I mean, I can't do the coding part because I'm not a coder at all, but I got a handle on everything else.
Anyway, news.
Yeah, news. All right, I'll do mine first because you'll think this is stupid news.
All right.
You'll hate it.
Okay.
I think it's great, and I think most people out there will agree with me.
Okay.
Now, I hate McDonald's food.
I also hate McDonald's food.
I'm not like for ideological reasons, because I used to eat it when I was a kid, but McDonald's
I ate it when I was a kid, too.
And Burger King, and pretty much any fast food other than a few select items at a few select places, and anything...
I've been known to eat a chicken McNugget.
And anything on the White Castle menu. Because I love White Castle. Makes me nauseous. Like, McDonald's burgers make me physically ill, and I'll usually have diarrhea.
Yeah, I get sick just looking at them.
No, I don't get sick looking at them, but I get sick if I actually eat them.
Yeah, I just don't eat fast food
However,
except for rare occasions.
There is one thing that is perhaps one of the greatest things ever given unto man by technology, and that is the McDonald's breakfast.
Bargle!
McDonald's breakfast sandwiches are so amazing.
Bargle!
See, you never had that experience of, waking up at 9 o'clock and looking around and realizing that it's before 11. I can go and get a McDonald's breakfast. I mean, how many times...
I'll eat an Eggo waffle. I'll better off.
Now, how many times would I go... Eggos are disgusting.
You're telling me Eggos are disgusting, but a McDonald's breakfast is okay?
So how many times would I go out? I wake up and it's like 10:10, and I think, I want a McDonald's breakfast. And I try to go get it, but then they're not serving breakfast anymore because they stopped serving it. Well... It seems that McDonald's recognizes my plight and is trying to rectify this. You see, the only reason McDonald's doesn't have breakfast all the time is that the way their restaurant, well, I wouldn't call them a restaurant, the way their kitchen, wouldn't call it a kitchen, the way their processed food factory,
mini food factory,
the way their slop press is put together is that you can only make a set number of things at one time. Like, things are dual purpose. You can't make breakfast sandwiches and burgers at the same time. They've only retooled their kitchens a couple of times in the past, and the last time they did it was fairly recent. All this stuff I read, you don't care about. I'm not going to talk about
making more efficient kitchens. Yeah.
No, about making less efficient kitchens on purpose.
Why?
And it's, like I said, I don't want to get into it.
Oh, God.
I'll do a whole show on this shit.
All right.
Now, the thing is, they're talking about how they're going to try to retool the kitchen so that they can have some breakfast items available 24/7 because places like Tim Hortons and Dunkin' Donuts are starting to kill them in the late night market because the late night market is comprised mostly of college students and punk kids who all want their breakfasts.
Yeah, generally. That's what that is. A lot of people want breakfast, late at night. I mean, how many times do you go to the diner for dinner and you get waffles or French toast?
God, you realize I've probably ordered breakfast at diners more than I've ordered any other food at diners ever.
Yeah, bro, I think that's exactly right. I mean,
yet I rarely go to diners at breakfast time.
Yeah, I mean, until very recently, I pretty much would only order breakfast at diners because I was always afraid that the other food would be nasty.
The food's not nasty. It's great until you get food poisoning.
I know. So breakfast is always
Curse
a safe
you, Yankee
bet because
Clipper.
it's bread and sugar and fruit. Anyway, my news.
A breakfast is comprised mostly of egg, meat, and more egg.
Egg and meat can also be included as long as that meat is bacon.
No, it's got to be sausage and
No.
Canadian bacon.
No, it's not good.
Or a breakfast steak. I'm okay with a breakfast steak.
No, it's not good either. Steak is a dinner. Anyway.
Steak and eggs.
No. So
What kind of BS news do you have? You can't beat the McDonald's breakfast.
Link, the guy with the sword and the shield,
Yeah.
he's left-handed.
Yep. You probably didn't know that.
Yeah, you probably never noticed.
You know what? And our listeners, they probably all knew that.
Yeah, probably. But if you didn't know, Link, Link,
To quote-
who comes to town,
To save the day.
Yeah. He has always been
Forget it.
left-handed. The shield has always been held in the right,
It is great.
and the sword has always been held in the left, and that is the way it has been. However, Zelda Wii is coming out, and apparently Miyamoto realized that most people are right-handed.
So, first off, this news is basically a big double deuce to anyone who's actually left-handed.
Well, no, because they... So... what happened was a lot of people were swinging the Wii, sword with their right hand, but with Link is holding it in the left hand, and that didn't work out so well, because it's kind of weird to feel like you're swinging a sword in your right, but the guy on screen swings his left hand around.
Well, there was a big controversy in Counter-Strike way back when they switched it from being left-handed to being right-handed.
Well, you could choose. You could always configure it.
Well, yeah, but it wasn't always obvious right away, and originally you couldn't, and people bitched about it to no end.
I like the right-handed guns, actually, in Counter-Strike better.
Well, that's because you started with those.
No, not really.
Yeah.
No, I remember when they switched also.
Okay.
The reason I like right-handed guns better is because when I usually would hide on the left side of an open doorway, and then I would come around the right so I'd be able to see the guy sooner, and my gun wouldn't block him.
What is Counter-Strike? I usually hit on top of the door with a hostage stuck to me.
That works too.
Anyway.
Zelda Wii, they made it where Link left-handed because Link's left-handed. But then they, because they've realized people are right-handed and they're going to be swinging the sword, they flipped the entire game.
Now, that is not as stupid as you might think because they designed the game very precisely. So a lot of the puzzles were meant so you're looking at it and you'll react with your left hand to it.
Yeah, there'll be like a lot of fights where, like, let's say there's a bad guy and you have to sneak around the bad guy and then hit him, with a certain sword, but if he's against a wall, that can totally screw up the game, making a guy harder to hit, and, game design isn't as simple as you think. There's a lot to it. But if you just mirror the entire game, including all the maps and all the levels and everything, then you don't do anything else. It's just, one switch and the whole thing's perfect. However, if you are left-handed, there is going to be an option for left-handed Link.
But it won't be left-handed world.
No.
It'll be right-handed world.
Yeah,
So
and
you'll be, just like you are in real life, a left-handed man or woman in a right-handed world.
Yep, so you'll be used to that.
And there's no leftorium.
Yeah. The thing is, people are still uncertain because there is still a GameCube version of Twilight Princess.
They already said that the GameCube version is also going to be flipped.
Did they? Because
Yes.
I didn't. Because I saw a link that said so and so confirms GameCube version also flipped, but when I clicked on the link, it didn't say anything like that.
Oh, I didn't follow the link.
Yeah, so I'm not sure at all.
Get it? The link?
I'm fairly
The
certain.
link?
Yes, I'm fairly certain that Nintendo won't release a game on two systems where one game is totally flipped from the other game.
See, now, here's some brilliant marketing. If they did, they could have two different versions of the strategy guide. They could have... A lot of nuts would probably buy both to get the full experience.
I might. But not like right away. Like I'd wait for the GameCube version to be wicked cheap, like $20.
How weird would that be to play? Like, imagine playing Mario. Somebody make a Flash version of Mario Brothers 1 that's identical except you play from right to left.
Oh my god, we got to do that.
That's brilliant.
That's genius.
That'll get that. That is going to be the Front Row Cruise project. At least one level of it because we can do that. We can do that easily.
Right to left Mario.
Right to left Mario.
What if we just took Zelda 1 and we took the whole map, every map, and just went whoop? Like we kept the game exactly the same. We just flipped the whole overworld so the graveyard was in the top right instead of the top left.
I think I'd rather do the Mario one because that would be so weird.
God, would that be weird?
The Zelda one wouldn't be that weird, just like a new map.
See, the thing is this problem was solved way back in the day by a very old game known as Pitfall.
You could go either way.
You could go both ways in Pitfall.
Like a bisexual.
Yes, Ted.
That was the joke.
But The thing is, in Pitfall, even though I was right-handed, I would go left because it was easier to jump over the logs and the snakes and all that business because they would always come from the right. So you just keep running to the left and nothing would ever catch you because everything went at the same speed as Pitfall Harry.
Plus, when you died, I don't recall which way it went, but if you died, you always started on the left side of whatever screen you died on.
Yeah, so if you did get hit while you ran onto a screen, you'd skip over that screen immediately. It was pretty good. So, yeah, Pitfall, run to the left.
Hello out there, we're on the air. It's hockey night tonight. Tension grows, the whistle blows, and the puck goes down the ice. The goalie jumps and the players bump and the fans all go insane. Someone roars, Bobby scores at the good old hockey game.
Now, this is the end of Hockey Fight Week, so we have to end with pretty much the 2 best hockey fights ever.
Well, there's one problem with that is I realized I used the best hockey fight ever as a thing of the day before Hockey Fight Week. What was I thinking?
Not only that, but the best hockey fight I ever saw personally, there is no video of it I can find. All I can say is that I was there, and every player on both teams was fighting, except the 2 goalies who were staying out of it. The refs were fighting. The managers of the teams were fighting, the coaches were fighting, and the crowd was fighting. The crowd jumped onto the ice, and there was a massive brawl. My dad and my little brother and I had to get the hell out of there. It was fantastic.
Sweet.
Now, my hockey fight today is a very important historical hockey fight that illustrates a number of points. I think it is the best way I could end Hockey Fight Week. Now, you might watch the video and wonder, why is it in black and white, Rim? Why is there no sound? Why does it look like it's from the 50s? Well, it's from 1955, and it's of a very famous hockey player, Maurice Richard of the Montreal Canadiens, involved in a spectacular fight. Now, one thing that you should notice when you watch this video is that hockey fights in 1955 looked exactly the same as hockey fights in 2006. Nothing's different. It looks, the guys fight, jersey comes up, guy gets knocked down. They do that little dance where they're kind of like, you want to fight? Maybe we shouldn't fight. The refs just kind of stand there and hold them. It's identical. Hockey hasn't changed.
Yeah, unlike all these other sports.
Well, no, hockey culture hasn't changed. Hockey has changed quite a bit. And in fact, hockey has changed a lot this year in ways that we might touch on briefly at the end of this episode.
Maybe.
But no, there's more to this fight than that. If it had just been an old hockey fight, that wouldn't have been anything. But Maurice Richard was a very, very famous hockey player. One of the most famous ever, at least in Canada. He's effectively a national hero. And in 1955, the fight you were watching, you can't tell, but he's fighting with some other player. I forget who it was. And while they're fighting, the linesman, Jerry Laflamme, comes in to break the fight up. And he takes the linesman out, too. Linesman's like a mini referee.
Yeah.
So he takes that guy out. You can't do that. That is a match penalty, meaning you get banned from hockey for a while. So he was banned from hockey. As a result, the team lost the Stanley Cup to the Red Wings. As a result, there was a riot where the president of the NHL was attacked by fans of the Canadiens. It was absolute chaos.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
So, yes, this video is very cool, and I suggest you watch it.
All right, my hockey fight since the, super amazing hockey fight that lasted half a game or an entire period has already been used as a thing of the day in the past. I'm going to talk about just a hockey trip. A guy, he got tripped, and he fell down. However, in the course of this, the most famous picture in sports ever, the most famous photograph in all of sports was taken.
You've probably seen it.
You've probably seen it, and if you haven't, what's wrong with you? If you haven't seen this picture, you don't know what I'm talking about. You need to, even if you never looked at the things of the day before ever, you need to go to frontrowcrew.com and click on this link and see this picture. Now, let me set this up for you. There's Bobby Orr, who basically is probably the best defenseman in hockey ever. He changed what it meant to be a defenseman in ice hockey. He was the most scoring defenseman ever, when he came out and, started playing hockey for the Boston Bruins. And then he just kept scoring more and more goals every season, and he was just, amazing. One of the, guys, on the Wayne Gretzky level. So Wayne Gretzky's number 1. So he's, in the next tier, right under that, Amazing hockey players of all time. In 1970, the Boston Bruins were in the Stanley Cup Finals against the St. Louis Blues, who weren't as good. And it was the 4th game, and the Bruins You know, they'd won the previous 3 games, and they were probably going to win the Stanley Cup on this night. Well, Bobby Orr came in his usual fashion, was going to score a goal that was going to be the game-winning goal and win him the Stanley Cup with his goal. As he was scoring this goal to win the Stanley Cup, the greatest trophy ever made, he got tripped, and he was sent flying through the air head first. And for a moment, he was like few feet off the ice, and he was completely horizontal, like Superman, flying, except he's about to fall on his face. And he knew he had just won the Stanley Cup, so his arms were way up like, woo! Only he was completely horizontal. And at that exact moment, Ray Lucier of the Boston Herald pushed the button on his camera, and he took perhaps the greatest picture in all sports ever.
See, that's one thing about hockey that, I mean, other sports have their iconic pictures. I mean, there are famous pictures in soccer and everything, but there are so many more of those kinds of pictures in hockey just because of the way hockey is.
Yeah. So if you've never seen this picture, you don't know what I'm talking about. It might be called the dive, the trip, the Superman, whatever. It's Bobby Orr. If you search for Bobby Orr on Google Images, you are going to see this picture like 1,000 times. Bobby O-R-R. Bobby Orr. One of the greatest hockey players ever. Most famous picture ever. Go look at it.
So anyway, we had, Hockey Fight Week for the last week, and we're going to end it with a bit of talk about hockey.
Yeah, a lot of geeks and nerds and people out there might not like ice hockey. They might not appreciate it as, much as we do. They might be wondering, what's up with these geeks and their hockey liking?
Now, of course, I want to note that it's nerds who generally dislike sports, because geek is a much more broad term, and there are sports geeks.
There are indeed.
I mean, there are people who are geeky about sports the way you're geeky about video games.
Yep. And so we decided to do a little episode, just a quick thing about why we like hockey so much. And perhaps, maybe, you will begin to see hockey the way we see it and think it's awesome. Or perhaps not.
Now, in the very least, I know a lot of you are in college. And if you're in college and you're in a place where there is hockey, because there aren't that many places in the world.
Yeah, you might be in college below the Messier line. And if that's the case, what can I say?
Or you might be in sub-Saharan Africa, or, I don't know, where there's not hockey in a lot of places.
You pretty much have to either be in Europe. Russia's a good place. Ukraine is very good. Canada, all of Canada, or the northern United States, or Alaska. Those are the only places where hockey exists, really.
Well, where hockey as we know it exists. There's hockey
Ice
elsewhere, but it's not the same.
Field hockey is what.
No. Even when they have ice hockey down south, it's not the same.
No, it's not. It's not real ice hockey.
Of course, what we have is nothing.
It's like when, if we tried to play cricket, it just wouldn't be cricket.
Yeah, it'd just be us hurting ourselves with that flat bat.
Yeah, the wicked googly.
A wicked googly.
That's right.
I've got a wicked googly.
Yeah, I'm sure we have a listener now who's like in Britain or something and knows all about cricket and is going to yell at us.
Actually, a lot of people at IBM played cricket. And in fact, I got hit with a goddamn cricket ball while I was trying to play volleyball one day.
Were they from India?
Actually, every one of them was.
Yep, see? In India, cricket's real big.
Yeah, and you know what? I played a couple times with these guys. It was really fun.
Slurpee Indian, not the...
Obviously.
Yes,
not
the casino.
The Native Americans were playing crickets.
They might have been. They might have picked it up at some point. But no.
No.
The Slurpee Indians are all about cricket.
Anyway. Now, we're not really going to go into the origins of how we got into hockey, because suffice to say, it's pretty much the fact that I was born in Detroit, which is known. I mean, New York is the Big Apple, and, there's the Big Easy, and all the names for, Sin City for Las Vegas. Detroit,
the Windy City.
Detroit is Hockey Town.
I thought it was the Motor City or Motown.
Well, yeah, the thing is, it's called Hockey Town by most of the natives, and in fact, in all the NHL stuff too, they always call it Hockey Town.
Mm-hmm.
And Detroit takes hockey seriously. If you're in Detroit,
well, I mean, look at the other teams they have to go on. They've got the Detroit Lions.
All right. I was gonna say, other than the Lions, the Tigers did pretty well this year.
But not usually.
The Pistons,
they're not known for being great.
They were great a long time ago.
Yeah, but I mean, they're not like a team that wins a lot. They just happen to be good this year. They might not be good in the future.
The Pistons have had a long run of being very good.
Yeah, but no one cares about that. At least we don't care about basketball.
Yeah, well, the thing is, in hockey, people care more about hockey than they do about all the other sports combined. Hockey is so big in Detroit, you might as well be in Canada.
Yep. Well, it's pretty close to Canada, so I think that has a lot to do with it.
Yeah. Well, when the Red Wings won the Stanley Cup in 1996, when I was a freshman in high school, at the end of that year.
That was 96, 95.
When they won the Stanley Cup for the first time in however long, the entire southeastern half of the state completely shut down the next day for the biggest freaking parade that the city had ever had.
Well, I mean, when the Rangers won the Stanley Cup in 94, who hadn't won since 1940. So that was, 54 years they hadn't won the Stanley Cup, and they won it. There was a parade in New York City, and everyone was crazy.
Yeah, it was pretty much the same deal. I mean, they gave us the day off school.
I mean, you don't see, there being a parade when the Yankees win the World Series, but when the Rangers win the Stanley Cup, goddamn parade.
Yeah, the thing is, when the Red Wings won it again, the same deal. When they won it again, same deal. No, that's the one thing about hockey, to jump right into our main discussion. When anything happens in hockey, it's like baseball is kind of this generic, woo, oh, we did this. Oh, look, he's running to second base. Go, 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 go. Yeah, we got a home run. Oh, my God. Or basketball, it's 2 points, 2 points, 2, 3, 2, 2, 2, 2. Oh, God, he missed. 2, 2, 2, 2.
3.
But hockey is nothing. But when something happens, when a goal is scored, when a guy gets hit, the crowd just goes absolutely fucking nuts.
Yeah, it's kind of like football. Football is sort of the same kind of mood. The only thing is that in football, you basically have this nothing, and then a play starts, and then maybe something happens, maybe nothing happens. But then there's this nothing in between the plays, I mean, there's still the same excitement when there's touchdowns or huge tackles or interceptions or anything like that. But there's all this time. It's basically like spikes, and some spikes are bigger than others, and it always returns to 0. Hockey is kind of like soccer in that it stays at 1 all the time.
There's this constant level of tension because at any moment someone could break away. At any moment someone could fall down.
They're constantly playing hockey. They don't stop playing hockey. The puck is constantly in motion, and they stop it as little as possible. They want to keep the game. Ideally, a game of hockey will be 3 periods with no stoppages except for goals scored.
Of course, that never happens.
That never happens, but
because you go in the box, and for 2 minutes you have to sit in the box.
Of course, but the puck is constantly in motion. You're constantly paying attention. You're always at 1, and then it rumbles and spikes all along the way. But the goals aren't so common like basketball that they're unexciting, And the hits, I mean, there are hits all over the place, but the big hits are they're there. It's like doom, doom. It's not like, football where there's a million hits at once and not one of them really gets noticed except for the one that matters.
I mean, when a goal gets scored in hockey, it's a lot like, when you see other countries playing soccer or, football out there, and when a goal is scored...
Yeah, real football, not American football.
Everyone in the crowd, in unison, screams as loud as they can and jump as high as they can, and they don't stop for a while. That's hockey.
Yeah, it's really, not only is it every sport, even the sports that aren't fun to watch, like NASCAR or basketball, are real fun to play. Pretty much any sport is fun to play. I can't really think of a boring sport to play.
Punch for punch is really kind of stupid.
Okay, it's stupid, but it's more fun than, say, watching curling.
I was about to bring up curling because curling is really fun. It's really fun.
I mean, shuffleboard is fun to play, but to watch, no good. Yeah. Curling, I imagine, is very similar to shuffleboard on ice, so it's the same kind of thing.
You know what I would rather watch than play? Outrunning bears.
Okay, yeah.
I would rather watch that than play it.
The bull thing in Spain? Yeah. I'd rather watch that and not participate. Although, successfully participating, that has to be hella fun.
Yeah, the thing is, I get more adrenaline rushes from things that aren't quite as dangerous.
Yeah, they should just replace all the bulls with hot naked chicks. That would be awesome. Anyway.
Here's some Benny Hill music.
Okay. I found out that song's called Yakety Sax.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I just learned that recently.
I'm surprised you didn't know that.
Well, I didn't know, and now I do. And now, if you're out there, you now know that the Benny Hill song, is called Yakety Sax.
AKA the being chased around by naked women song.
Exactly. All right.
Hockey.
So, hockey, in addition to being fun to play, is awesome to watch. Very awesome, especially if you get into it.
Now, my best advice here is that if you live anywhere, like I was saying before we got sidetracked, especially in a college where there is local hockey, it's usually like $5 to go see non-NHL hockey. Even just go and see a game, but don't go alone. Get as many friends as you can, especially if you can find one person who you're friends with who knows about hockey who can explain what's going on.
Yeah, that's another thing about hockey is, a lot of people don't really understand completely how it works. I mean, obviously they push the puck around and try to get it in the goal, but not everyone understands like why that hit was okay and why that hit is a penalty, or why did they just stop playing and have a face-off?
Or how come guys keep going in and out of the bench all the time, just like
Yeah.
during play, and also the best way. It's weird because when you watch, like you can tell people who don't know about hockey or people who are new into hockey versus people who know about hockey at a game. Because you'll see the people who, have never been to a hockey game before or don't know a lot about it, they always watch the puck. They're always just staring at wherever the puck is, no matter what. They're just following the puck, and you can watch their head track the puck. But people who watch hockey and know about it, you'll see, like, something's going on with the puck, but they're looking down ice, watching the setup for what's about to happen.
Yeah.
There's this flow to hockey, and once it clicks, once you realize, and one day you'll notice that, wait a minute, I'm not even looking at the puck. That's the day at which you can fully appreciate the absolute brilliance that is that sport.
Yeah, the number one thing that you have to understand, I think the first thing that you have to learn about watching hockey is the offsides rule. I'm not going to teach you what the offsides rule is, but pretty much, like, if you go to a hockey game and you see some guys, the puck's floating around near that blue line and people are going, oh, or come on, aw, and you're just sitting there going, what? Because it doesn't look like anything happened, and then the whistle blows and they have to have a face-off. That's offsides is happening.
Pretty much, you can't go to the enemy team's side to use the puck.
The puck has to go over the blue line before a person goes over the blue line.
Yes.
Yeah.
To put it as simply as possible.
That's as simple as it's as far as I'm going. But yeah, that it's rules like that. Icing is another rule like that you won't notice unless you know how hockey works. And if you don't know those rules, you're not going to be able to really tell what the hell's going on.
But at the same time,
much.
don't try to read the rules to hockey, 'cause that's not going to help. Just go to a hockey game with a friend who knows about hockey.
And when something happens and you don't know what it was, say, why did that happen?
Now, here's the thing. If your friend actually knows about hockey, they'll realize that you don't know what's going on, and they'll just say things throughout the game like,
if they're
icing.
that kind of person.
Yeah.
You know.
I found that most hockey people are that way. Go to any hockey game, and half the people in the crowd are going, they'll just say under their breath whenever something happens, like, interference, offsides.
Or when something's about to happen, they'll be like, ice, 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 yeah.
Yep. And even then, just the best way, if you want to see why we like hockey so much, especially if you ever get to go to a hockey game with us, personally, is that you'll see us sitting there, and we won't say anything, but we'll slowly start edging forward and standing up, and our fists start clenching and start rising, then they go back down. Rise, go back down, and the tension just builds and builds and builds. It's almost sexual.
Yeah, because like you can tell when if someone knows hockey, they can tell when like a big play is going to be set up. It's like I can tell just looking at the way guys are arranged and where the puck is. Like there's a goal opportunity right there, and in like 5 seconds later, there'll be either a goal or really close to a goal. You can see it way ahead.
There's the same thing in football because like you see the formations, you go, oh, they're going to try this kind of pass. They're going to try to do this, but there's always that stop where you sit and look at it. Hockey is just fluid, and it keeps going. The situation is changing every second.
Yep. All right, let's just do some hockey anecdotes because I got a few here because I think that as by example is a great way to show people how hockey can be awesome.
Oh, I got. Oh,
right.
I'm trying to think. I got so many hockey stories.
Oh, I got 2 or 3 prepared.
All right, you gonna pull one out?
Yeah. First, I want to tell everyone about Dennis Potvin.
Potvin sucks.
Yeah. Well, Dennis Potvin was a guy who played for the New York Islanders, who play at the shitty crap hole Nassau Coliseum, which is like the worst arena ever. But he played for the Islanders like in the 60s and such. Oh no, he actually played in the 70s and 80s. But anyway, in 79, he was playing in a game against the Rangers, the New York Rangers, who play in Madison Square Garden, a very nice arena, and where the good teams play. And he hit this guy named Ulf Nilsson, and he broke his ankle. And the Islanders would always chant, 1940, because the Rangers hadn't won since 1940. Well, that night after Potvin broke this guy's ankle, all the Rangers fans started going, Potvin sucks, Potvin sucks, yelling at this guy. Well, that chant, about Potvin sucking, because Potvin was an asshole, and no one liked Dennis Potvin. He's in the Hall of Fame, he's a great player, but no, he's an asshole. And, they kept doing this chant, the Islanders would come to play, and they would say, Potvin sucks. And to this day, even though Dennis Potvin has retired, and even if the New York Rangers are not playing against the Islanders, they might be playing against, like, the LA Kings. Are they even still a team? I don't even think they're still a team, the LA Kings.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. They're playing against the Mighty Ducks of Anaheim, right? And you'll go to Madison Square Garden for a Rangers versus Anaheim, and you will hear someone in the, the crowd of Madison Square Garden go like, doot, 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 dude, and then everyone will say Potvin sucks, even though he's retired and they're not playing the Islanders.
Now, see, that is another aspect of hockey that you see more, like you can experience more directly at local games and college games, but even in the NHL, it's there, is that, like soccer, well, football, the game is highly ritualized among the fans and often hilarious.
Yeah, there's like a tradition when it comes to hockey. You go to like a baseball game, like if you go to see a Mets game, I'm just using the teams that are my teams because I've been to the games.
Yeah, I'll be talking mostly about the Red Wings when we do hockey stuff.
People say, let's go Mets, which is the thing that the giant scoreboard tells you to say. There's some tradition there, but it's not really expressed. You won't notice it unless you know where to look, and you're.
Like, RIT, the Red Wings, whenever, they're getting close to a Stanley Cup, the whole thing is they'll play, I want Stanley, I want Stanley, and the whole octopus thing is still alive and strong in Detroit, at least the last time I was going to games there.
Yep, and like in hockey, if you score 3 goals in one game, one player scores 3 goals in one game, that's a hat trick. And people throw hats on the ice.
Yeah, you throw your hat in the air. That's expected.
They throw hats on the ice, It's just like, oh, a bunch of hats show up on the ice. Just there they are.
I never threw my hat on the ice.
I never threw my hat on the ice because my hat was always too nice to get rid of.
Yeah, but I always threw it in the air.
But if I had a cheap hat, like a $1 sombrero from the store or like a plastic hat from a bar mitzvah, away it went,
Now, if you go to more local hockey games, there's a lot more of that. And we have many anecdotes from RIT. We'll probably do a whole separate show about RIT hockey.
Yeah, local teams, like if they don't already have a tradition, they try to create a tradition. It's like, because that's what hockey's all about, is that sort of thing.
Yeah, in terms of tradition, rivalries between teams, like in football, a rivalry lasts like, a couple of seasons maybe. Or there'll be like a kind of rivalry.
Yeah, it's like, ooh, they played the Super Bowl against each other last year. We're going to make the first Monday Night Football game of next year is those two teams.
Hockey, there'll be things like, you fuckers caught us out of the Stanley Cup in 1906. We're coming back.
Yeah, it's like one of your guys on your team injured one of our guys in 1937. We still hate you, even though no one involved with either of those teams is alive. They don't care. They still hate each other.
Yeah, but it's always a good-natured hate. I mean, like I said yesterday, watch any hockey fight, and usually you'll see the two guys who fought just talking to each other after the fight like, that was great. We had a fight. That was awesome.
Yeah, the amount, if you actually counted like the real fights, the fights where people are trying to hurt each other in hockey, and compared it to the number of fights in other sports in which pretty much any fight in another sport is a guy trying to hurt another guy for real.
Yeah, most fights
you will see that hockey actually has less real fights.
Because fights are either wholly consensual or they're part of this tit for tat where, like, a Red Wing will check Claude Lemieux because Claude Lemieux hurt a guy on the Islanders the week before, and that was payback because he didn't get paid back in that game.
Something crazy like that.
Like, hockey teams look out for each other, too. If someone does something really bad, even if they get away with it, the other teams take note.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Claude Lemieux got clobbered by pretty much every team in the league for a while.
Yeah, that's the other thing is, like, remember the NHL strike, was it 2 years ago, right? All those players, you go to other sports and those guys are in it for the money. You have guys on football teams who are holding out on their contracts. They're refusing to play football because they think they'll get more money. Hockey players are crazy. All they care about is playing hockey. They don't give a shit about money.
During the strike, they all joined like minor leagues or other leagues or the Canadian leagues.
During the strike, most hockey players ran away to Europe because they wanted to play hockey.
They didn't care. They just wanted to play hockey. People play hockey because they love it. No one plays hockey for the money because you make more money in other sports.
Yeah. I mean, when guys play on like the Olympic team in hockey, you're like, hey, these guys are in the middle of a hockey season. There's a break because there's Olympic hockey going on. Why would these guys try very hard in the Olympics? Why would they risk getting injured for, when there's a real NHL season going on?
Yeah,
because they're crazy hockey players.
Do you think the New York Yankees would let their star pitcher just pitch in the minor leagues for fun in the middle of a season?
Yeah, or like go to if there are baseball Olympics, do you think they just let him go? There's a break, so they're not missing any games, but do you think they'd let him go pitch in some games that don't matter in terms of the World Series? They matter for some gold medals and something else?
I mean, if the NHL disbanded, there would be just as much hockey. Nothing would change, and all of those players would just join other leagues and continue playing, even if they didn't make any money.
Yeah, that's part of why hockey is there, because anyone playing hockey wants to play hockey real bad, and they're trying as hard as they can, and they care about the game they're playing, and they're not there for some other reason. It's not... While it is their job, but they're not doing it like it's their job. They're doing it, the same way that I would play a German board game or that you would play a video game.
Now, I guess because we got to wrap this up. It's Thursday, and I'm tired. We got a concert tomorrow to go to. We'll talk about that at length on Monday.
Mm-hmm.
But suffice to say, hockey, I mean, most of our friends at RIT were not sports fans at all.
No, they were not.
We systematically dragged everyone we knew to RIT hockey games.
Well, I think RIT hockey, the fact that RIT hockey was slightly enthusiastic and good helped a bit.
Yeah,
if
but
it was normal hockey, they wouldn't have been into it.
But even though, I mean, the fact that we dragged these people who generally hated sports to these games, and by the end of a couple games, they'd be coming to us like, we're going to the hockey game, right?
Nah.
I mean, our senior year, we even started going to the girls' hockey games.
Yeah, we went to like 2 or 3 of those.
Well, the thing is, the one thing that bothers me about hockey is that girls' hockey really sucks, but it's not the girls' fault.
Yeah.
The rules for women's hockey are different. They're not allowed to fight. They're not allowed to check each other, which is hitting, basically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, generally, if you look at hockey, the only real difference between like kids hockey, women's hockey, minor league hockey, and NHL real hockey is the speed.
Yes, I mean...
If you go to a college hockey game... It looks just like an NHL hockey game, only in a smaller ice rink where everyone's skating slower. NHL hockey is exactly the same. The same setups and everything, only they're going real fast and there's a lot more ice. Real fast. And the puck's going faster and shot harder and everything like that. That's really the only difference.
Well, that and you'll see a lot cleaner plays. Like in college hockey, even in good college hockey, you'll see a lot of, passes that don't quite go or formations that just fail, But
a lot of that is, things require the more speed to work properly. But
True.
There is, of course, the lack of, technique because you're just a college kid and you haven't played hockey for 4 more years necessary.
And I guess because there's one other aspect, real briefly, because we got to wrap this up, but we talk a bit about F1, which we're kind of fans of too. Scott more so than me, but I enjoy it. And we talk about, the technology and how tiny changes like a 16th of a degree on a fin completely changes the car. Hockey is the same way. Tweaking the rules like in any direction totally changes the game. And this year, now this is just as an example, they have allowed you to have a slightly more curved blade on your hockey stick.
Oh no.
Like the tiniest little difference. And good God, is that going to change the game and make it more offensive, make shooting bigger and more accurate, make the goalie's job harder, and make the game, in my opinion, more awesome.
It's going to be very awesome. People are going to be shooting harder, passing faster. They're going to be able to they're going to handle the puck better.
It'll weaken the trap. Now we're just talking in total hockey lingo.
Yeah.
It's going to weaken the trap kind of team. So teams like the Jersey Devils are pretty much fucked.
Oh, I don't know if they still play that way.
I don't know either. I haven't actually watched
because I don't watch TV, so...
I watched the Jersey Devils, before the strike, and unless they've changed, they really have no chance.
Yeah. But anyway, one last thing I want to say. My thing of the day from Monday was Ty Domi, punching Ulf Samuelsson in the face and knocking him out. On Tuesday, Ty Domi retired. Kind of a coincidence.
Better call Randy.
No, really. I mean, I use him at a thing of the day. The next day he retires. He must have listened to the show. And then said, people are talking about me on some geek show. I better quit.
They're on to me.
Yeah.
So, in closing, hockey's awesome. FrontRowCrew.com. Join the forums. They're crazy.
And if you're an RIT student, there should be hockey. You should go to the home hockey games, as many as you can.
Though they're not as great as they used to be.
They're not. The only difference is they used to win all the time, and now they don't really win all the time because they moved to Division 1.
Now, when we say win all the time, we mean win all the time.
Yeah, just go to one of their games and look at the ceiling, and you will see all the little championship banners. They don't just give you those, to make your arena look nice.
Yeah. Now, if you needed any other endorsement of hockey, RIT, in my opinion, probably the geekiest university in the nation of the United States.
Yep, almost
And,
definitely.
I mean, MIT and and Caltech are really geeky, but I think overall RIT has the highest concentration and the greater number of geeks.
I think that the only data you need to support that claim is the fact that it is the most piracy of.
Yeah, I mean the
software
FBI.
and
How many
music.
times did like the FBI come
I
to
think it was all
RIT?
customs that came, or it's crazy.
The FBI came at least once.
Anyway,
I mean, I worked for ITS. I saw some shit.
yeah.
But hockey was so unbelievably popular at RIT. I mean, more people went to hockey games than went to pretty much any other sport that RIT combined.
Yeah, and when they played the rivals, the game would sell out, even though the school was full of geeks. I mean, people would walk through the snow in the cold, and that's part of why hockey was important there, because it was cold. That's the sport you could play in this place. And the school had its own ice rink, which is kind of huge also. The nerds who normally spent all day inside playing Counter-Strike
Would turn off Counter-Strike, or at least pause it.
Yeah,
they go to the like
they
AFK.
disconnect from the server, leave it running. They'd walk out in the snow, in the cold, in the winter to pay $5 to sit on a cold bench in an ice rink to watch some college, bums play ice hockey.
To watch some hotel management majors.
Yep.
Hotel management majors from Canada. I almost said Canada.
Yeah, all of RIT's hockey players were hotel management majors from Canada.
Yeah, fancy that.
Yeah. Anyway, most of them were. Some of them were real majors. I mean, one guy was like a painter, right? And he painted like a picture of hockey, and they auctioned it off.
Yeah. Oh God, I just remember we got stories about RIT hockey players that lived next door to us in Colony.
We have lots of stories about RIT.
We're gonna do an
hockey.
RIT hockey episode in the future.
Yeah.
I'll leave it at that.
Mm-hmm.
And that was Geeknights with Rim and Scott. Special thanks to DJ Pretzel for our opening theme.
Be sure to visit our website at www.frontrowcrew.com. If you like our podcast, you'll love our forums. Make sure you visit them. You can send your email feedback to geeknights@gmail.com. And if you want, you can leave us a voicemail at 206-333-1537.
Geeknights airs every weeknight, Monday through Thursday.
Geeknights is recorded with absolutely no studio and no audience. But unlike those other talk shows, it's actually recorded at night.
Do what you can. I would do as much as I could because I had nothing else to do at work. I mean, you can only surf the internet for so long.
Yeah, but...
When you go to FARC the fourth time and it still hasn't updated, there's nothing left to do on the internet.
Well, see, what I generally do is I get to work, I go to everything once, and then I'm done with that for until...
For 5 minutes.
No, until the end of the day when I'll check my email once.
No, that's a horse shit. You're constantly chatting with me over AIM, and you post in the forums somewhat regularly. You're always
Well,
in the
I keep
forums.
the forums and the email open,
Yeah.
and then I close everything else.
Yeah. See, basically, I work and read FARC and read our forum and read Slashdot and chat simultaneously no matter where I am. And yet I do enough work to where they're always very pleased with what I do. It's kind of weird.
The thing is, I replaced the time I would do work. I end up reading a comic or
See, I can't do anything
playing
like
a
that.
GBA game.
I mean,
or
I
a
guess
DS game.
the thing is, I do all the work I can do. It's not that I'm slacking from work at this new job. It's more that the work is all just kind of stupid.
Yeah.
It's all paperwork and bureaucracy, and every now and then someone wants to know something technical, and there's no way they understand when I explain whatever they ask to them. People ask me the perfect.
And that's why it was so expensive. It's oh, you want some awesome life? Well, you have to pay $1 bajillion.
Yep, and you know what? 2 months later, that $7,000 was gone. My car was almost repossessed. And I had to rely on the sympathy of cute girls to actually give me food.
Thus is the way of things. Tomorrow, speaking of work, tomorrow there's actually people coming to my work. I'm not
Really?
gonna, yeah, they're coming. I see. At first, earlier in the week, they emailed me. They're like, "Are you gonna be there on Friday?" And I'm like, "Yeah." They're like, "Oh, because we're coming to see you. We wanted to make sure you were there," which means it's okay, either they're coming to fire me, which is maybe cool, or they don't expect me to actually go to this place every day, and they want to know if I was gonna be there.
You know what? They probably figured We haven't had him do anything in a while. He probably doesn't even go there.
Well, I'm technically doing something, but there's like no deadline or anything. I'm just kind of, have these open tasks that I work on slowly. And whenever they ask me to report on my progress, they're very pleased. So I don't,
See, I handled, because I had the same situation at IBM. I had absolutely no deadlines, and they pretty much would give me systems or goals and say, have at. The only, people ask me things like, how do I make this kind of formula in Excel?
Oh my God.
And I'm like,
equals the math.
Well, no, he wanted something really complicated and weird. And I was like, I don't know. I could write it for you, but I'll have to sit down and relearn that crap and look at the syntax a little bit. And he was like, what do you know? But yet, people ask me things like blah, 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 Linux. And I'm like, blah, 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 kernel, blah, 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 blah. And they're like, what? What did you just say? I said, there was an instance recently where some vendor needs remote access to some software. I can't say anything about who or what, but they require PC Anywhere, which is some remote access.
Oh, God.
That's not the thing I'm getting to.
Okay.
Here. Now, I go to one of my managers, and I say, all right, we need a VPN we need remote access to this box they want PC Anywhere. And I'm about to say, you think we can convince them to use something else? And the guy said, no, PC Anywhere is crap. I agree. And I think, whew. Then he says, we'll just give them VPN access. To which I said, but VPN doesn't do what we need done. VPN doesn't do anything by itself. You need a little more than that.
That's all?
There's just, it goes on. There's just, no one's technical. I'm in an IT firm that does a lot of awesome stuff, but no one really knows a lot about the technology at all. It's kind of frightening.
Yeah, I guess that would be frightening. But anyway, no, they're not coming to fire me. They're coming to bring the new furniture to this empty office where only I work. And they told me to bring a box cutter to work tomorrow. We have one, right?
No.
Oh, okay, good.
I have one.
I'll just buy one at the hardware store on the way to work.
I wouldn't bring if my work said to buy a tool and bring it to work, I'd come to work.
Well, they didn't say to buy a tool. They said bring one if you have one.
I wouldn't bring one. Of course, then again, my work won't let me crimp cables or anything, so I can't even bring all my tools to work.
Wow. Anyway, the point is that, hey, they think I'm doing a great job, and tomorrow they're going to be like, hey, what's up?
Yeah, it's weird how we both work for companies that think we're doing a great job, and yet we're doing maybe 2% of what we could be doing for them.
Yeah, I think, as soon as, I, don't have things to distract me from doing work.
You know what the most common joke people make when they walk by my cube at work is?
What?
They see me typing, or they hear me typing, and I type really fast, and they always say something like, slow down, you'll get us all fired. Yuck, yuck, yuck.
Wow.
Like, what are you trying to do? Put us out of a...
It's Thursday, September 21st, and this is Geeknights. Tonight we discuss why ice hockey is awesome. Let's do this.
I really can't complain about my job because they pay me better than IBM. I make quite a bit of money considering how little work I do, at least in terms of technical work. But I'm kind of thinking about looking for a new job already.
When did you get this job?
Like 4 months ago.
I'm thinking about quitting a job that I've had for 2 years.
Well, think of this.
4 months?
When I first got to IBM, the main reason I could bear it was because I knew that I was going back to RIT. And the day I went back to RIT from my first stint at IBM was like the happiest day it was at least in the top 5 of happiest days in my life. Because first off, I was poor, but then I worked for IBM for a while. I had like $7,000 in the bank. I had just spent a month living in Wildwood, New Jersey, going to the beach every day with Scott Johnson. And now I was back at RIT, the president of the anime club, a badass senior taking nothing but awesome classes. Life was absolutely